with another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. You know, when I was a kid, all superheroes had their own car. Batman, of course, had the Batmobile. The Green Hornet had the Black Beauty. I was a big fan of the Black Beauty. I thought that was pretty cool. What the Black Beauty was basically a modified Chrysler Imperial, 64, 65. This is my 67 Chrysler Imperial. If you've been to this website before, you probably saw the video we did on it. And I love these things. They're big, fast, heavy American cars. Well, reasonably fast. It's a 440. And you can make them go pretty good. And well, what the Green Hornet did, or what Kato did, was turn one of these into the Green Hornet's Black Beauty. Now, Kato didn't actually do it. I'm going to introduce you to the man who did it in real life. Come on, let's go next door, and I'll show you how you turn one of these into one of these. This is pretty cool. This was built by Dennis McCarthy. He's what they call the picture car coordinator. Dennis, come on in here. How you doing?
Great. How you doing, Jay?
Nice job. Now, this is the guy that builds all the movie cars. What's the name of your company?
Vehicle Effects.
Vehicle Effects. Okay, so how does that work? Like Sony contacts you after they have a script and they say, we want you to build essentially the Black Beauty.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, in this case, it was a phone call from Neil Moritz, the producer, and you know, I was given a script, went through the script. At that point, they were looking at some other options, modern cars. We had some manufacturer backing at the time. Things weren't panning out exactly as we wanted them to, and at some point I borrowed an Imperial from somebody. We put the wheels and the tires on it, we lowered it real quick, tinted the windows, and we painted the front headlight covers green, and brought it in for a show and tell, and it was a hit. And so
well, this is pretty close to what the original Green Hornet looked like, isn't it, somewhat?
It is very close. I mean, the original one, the bumpers were shaved, there was less chrome, you know. So we just kind of brought back some of the, you know, the classic chrome line.
Yeah, that's what I think, because I always like when there's some retro look to it, you know.
Yeah,
if they had used a modern car, it wouldn't have been the same. So
it wouldn't have been as cool.
Yeah, I mean, and to me, just a big old tank like this, and modern cars don't have room for machine guns and all the other stuff. They're a little small.
No, and they're a lot more difficult to fix when they get crashed on set as well. So
now, what is this? This is a 65?
This one's a 65, yes.
65, okay, so this would have had, what, the 413 in it?
Exactly,
okay.
The 413.
413 engine, torque flight transmission. Dennis, is it possible to open the hood and see the motor?
It is possible. Just not one of the easier things done, but it's possible.
I see. You can't just, because of the machine guns, I guess you have to unbolt everything and pull it off.
Yes, and unfortunately the hinges aren't there anymore, springs aren't there, so, you know.
This is a big car.
They're almost 6,000 pounds. Just the dash weighs like 100 pounds. If you pull the cluster out, I mean, everything in this car is heavy. It's just, they are a tank.
I love the front grille. So what do we have here? We have the dual machine guns. You need those in traffic, even more so nowadays.
Correct, especially on the 405.
Okay, what do we have here?
These are beanbag launchers, missiles, flamethrower.
Beanbag launchers?
Yep, and that's actually in the film. There's a sequence where
that's right.
Some guys with some beanbags.
Right, you have rockets down here.
Exactly.
You need the armor piercing. As I remember now, the original did not have the suicide doors in front. The original Imperial.
No, they did not. That was probably one of our biggest challenges of the build. At some point, Michel Gondry, had the idea he wanted these guns in the door jamb. And
I see.
And he asked me, "Can you do it?" And of course, my standard answer is sure, no problem. Well, it was a tremendous problem because everything hangs off of this beef knower, so it wanted to actually pull the beef knower away from the car.
And directors and stuff will go, hey, just reverse the doors, like you can do it in the daytime. I mean,
exactly.
Most movie people are not car people. Hey, make it fly. Yeah, put rockets in it so it flies. Oh, okay, we'll have that for you Thursday. So, so it's a real testament you guys were able to bang this stuff out as quickly as you can.
The term became butterfly doors. I'm not sure who came up with that, but that's what they started calling it.
And which wheels are those?
These are Coy's 20-inch wheels. I think they're a 20 by 10 in the front, 20 by 11 in the rear. You know, to me, the wheels and tires are really one of the key parts to making the car look right and getting the stance right. And I always try to get the biggest tire possible.
Because you look at it, and you don't realize it's a four-door at first, because obviously you have no exterior door handles.
Right, and that was something that was also taken from the original.
Right.
Door handles as well.
Yeah, and then, of course, the rear pretty much looks like a stock Imperial, except you've got the Hornet emblem here, and, of course, the armor-piercing bullets in here in the back. And what size tires are those?
We had a couple different sizes, 285, 50, 20. But for some of the hero shots, we'd stuff the biggest tire possible in there, but it would rub, of course, but it looked great. And then some of the stunt cars, we had to change them around a little bit.
Now, suppose somebody said, oh, I love this car. I want you to build me a copy. Could you do that for him?
You know what? It's funny you say that because we're doing that right now for Chow. Yeah, he called Jay Chow.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
I got a phone call that he wanted a car, so we had to go back through the wrecking yard we have of Imperials and try to find enough pieces to put one together. Which
very cool.
In the final stages of assembly.
So do you guys have a website if people wanted to contact you to build a car for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the website?
VehicleEffects.com.
VehicleEffects.com.
Yeah.
Let's look at the interior, see what it looks like. It looks a bit like a police car. I like the fact that all the symbols here are in Chinese. That's for Kato.
Exactly.
Apparently, yeah. And what do these two buttons do?
In the movie, they actually launched the missiles. In the Carlos Jr. commercial, they actually roll the windows down. So.
And then you have these are some sort of...
arming device.
Arming devices. I see once it buttons up, it's armed.
Yep.
You got your screen here. You got your stock 120-mile-an-hour speedometer. Obviously, that's not the stock steering wheel, much smaller than stock.
Grant wheel with a custom cover.
And all the switches do whatever it is they do, I suppose, isn't it?
Pretty much so, yeah.
And what do these do? Are these rocket launchers as well?
I believe those were for the machine guns on the front grille.
And it looks like the original seat.
Yep.
Yeah, original seat.
This is one car that actually is the original headliner.
Yeah, that looks like the original headliner. And this is actually a running car?
This is a running car.
How do you start it? I don't see the key. Oh, here it is here. Ooh.
This is actually the only car we had that had the original 413 motor in it.
Ooh, the 413, legendary motor. If you know the old Beach Boys song, revving up her engine and it sounds real. Remember the Beach Boys song and he meets somebody who's got a 413. I don't remember the actual lyrics, but I just remember 413. It's one of those numbers you just remember from your youth. You know something? We need to take this baby for a ride. Let's go fight some crime. Find these machine guns a little heavy. They make the front end plow a little bit on corners. Now this one is one of the, what they call hero cars, the show cars they used in the movie. The stunt cars actually have 454s in them that have been heavily modified. I don't want to do any burnouts with this thing because it's the original 413 powertrain. And this is meant just to kind of drive around and take to movie premieres. The other ones, the insides are pretty gutted and they're a little bit lighter so they can do stunt work. It's very intimidating when people see those big machine guns on the hood. Oh, they get out of the way. I feel like fighting crime. Just makes me laugh, cars. I remember this car when I was a kid. I used to think it was so cool. And you know, I still think it's cool. I love these big old Imperials. I gotta get some machine guns like this for mine. My Imperial, of course, has the later 440 engine. This is the 413, but this is one of those legendary motors as well. You notice it has no rear view mirror. That always drives me nuts when they show people in cars having a conversation in movies. They take the rear view mirror out so it doesn't block the star's face. And this one has no rear view mirror either. But I got a side mirror. And when you have machine guns and you have rear armor-piercing bullets, you don't need mirrors. But it drives pretty much like a stock 65 Imperial. You know, most movie cars don't even drive at all. They pull them on trailers. So I think it's great that Dennis has this one up and running. It's a lot of fun. I got to drive the Green Hornet. How cool is that? Look, it's really me. We'll see you next week.